About 3:30 in the morning here on the East Coast, and what am I doing? It's too late to start any decent gaming, so I'm here tonight to just have a just chatting kind of discussion about some of what's been going on here. As once again, I it's too late to really do anything of significance, and I'm wondering if some of the big streamers I watch have this as part of their strategy to avoid potential competition from people that want to build up a channel on here. I may actually have to deliberately stop watching various streamers that just keep going later and later and later, and the discipline just keeps getting less and less and less because the behavior that I keep seeing from these big streamers who all kind of scratch each other's back and can do literally anything and get thousands of viewers every single night, the behavior I see from them is exactly what I expect to see from people that are just too complacent with their content. I mean, I was watching S-Fan earlier tonight, and he made another passing reference to people making hate videos, as he calls it, where people try to name drop big streamers in order to steal their thunder or whatever his analogy is. But part of what he says makes sense. I mean, there are some people out there who can't come up with decent content on their own, and the only way they amount to anything is by starting controversy. I've encountered this on YouTube quite a bit as well. It's not just a thing here, it's not just a thing on Twitch either. I don't even know how much of a thing it is on Twitch versus what it is on YouTube. But the thing is, we're here tonight to have the discussion, the inverse of the discussion that I had with the YouTube folks about, the experience being a multi-platform content creator and the likes. Let's just tuck in here and let's talk about Twitch versus early YouTube, because once again, I've seen this stuff before, and we're also going to load up with YouTube audio library music because this stream is going to be very YouTubeable. I'm tempted to send it over. That's a little loud. Let's fire up Blue Sherpa and bring down this. Is that full volume? Nope, it's a little close. A little close to what it should be in terms of volume. So let's cut that down to like 7%. And let's fire up. Where is my icon to Blue Sherpa? I thought I made one last time. Oh, there's one in the task manager, or one in the taskbar anyways. Playback level is way too high. There we go. Now I can hear myself with the music being comfortably behind in terms of levels. Good old Blue Sherpa. So, here's the thing. What I see from the big streamers is 100% what I used to see on YouTube once upon a time. It's hard to admit that I'm old enough to see history repeat itself like this, but what I see again and again and again from, except for folks that take breaks like what Hasman Gold did, what I keep seeing from these guys is the same thing over and over again. They just do whatever and get thousands of views. Hey, that's not going to continue forever. Number one, people may start thinking, yeah, this is getting worn out or something, or they may catch on to it or something. But I've been watching a lot of people talk about what it takes to amount to something on these platforms, and one of the things that keeps coming up is content and then community. You don't necessarily hear that what video game you're playing makes or breaks your channel, even though a lot of people think that that's how it works when they're first getting started. Like, I'm not playing a popular enough game, or, I'm playing a game that's too popular and everything's oversaturated. But here's the thing. I've seen so many game streamers just fit the formula. They just put a box in the corner. Hey, I'm here. They don't really do anything engaging. They're just sitting there playing the game. And maybe some people watch here and there or something along those lines, but it's just seen it before, because the formula was there in early YouTube as well back in the day. Everybody thought that, once we get a certain camera or something, we'll automatically get viewers on our vlogs. Nope. It took something besides the usual to catch people's attention. And of course, YouTube had more friendly algorithms that let even nobodies build up a channel. I got started, and within a decent amount of time, I had 75 subs, 75 views per video. An audience that liked what it was that I was doing, even though back then it was complete garbage. And then, in sharp contrast to today, where people wonder if the algorithms even work over there, but that's a completely different discussion. So, what I keep seeing with the big streamers, same exact stuff that I saw with the big vloggers on YouTube back in the day. There's individuals. These individuals get their views, and it seems like they don't really have to put any, they do put effort into their streams. If you try streaming at all, you'll get a very quick crash course into what it takes to put on a good show. The thing is, though, what happens when you get to a point where you have a large enough audience and a steady enough stream of donos that you lose the eye of the tiger, as they would have said in Rocky 3. That's the thing. I keep seeing, like, what happened tonight. I would have been on here earlier, but were it not for the fact that S-Fan kept getting sidetracked. You know, he said he was going to do his recap, which I submitted some stuff to his Reddit, and he said he was going to do it after Raid, but then, oh, I'm hungry, let's just do cooking instead. And then, okay, well, we're going to catch up with recap and stuff. Then, oh, we have this Twitch bounty for playing Legends of Runeterra, the Riot Games answer to to Hearthstone. And then that turned into something that he really liked doing. He got Ginny involved and the rest of them, and he basically, that was the rest of the stream. So, and these kinds of sidetrack incidents just keep happening over and over again with this guy. I like how he's all laid. I like how he's all laid back, and it's like going over a friend's house to watch him play video games or do whatever. You know, much like in the early days of YouTube, I like, you know, his personality and everything. I just hope he doesn't get bummed out by some of the things that I saw happen to the early vloggers on YouTube. Because it used to be the case that there was about 6 or 7 people that were pretty much household names if you had anything to do with the YouTube ecosystem. And how much of this sounds familiar? So these were people you knew. If you were involved with YouTube, you knew these 6 or 7 vloggers. And even among the communities, when everything started moving away from just vlogging, you know, being the dominant way people, you know, the dominant content on there. When interest communities started growing, like gaming and other stuff like that on YouTube, and I remember this specifically from the people that were inspired by the Angry Video Game Nerd, there was a bunch of people that if you were involved in this community, you knew who they were. Simple as that. Some of the channels did better than others, and some of them weren't even big channels, but if you were involved in this community of people inspired by the AVGN, you knew who all these people were, and you've probably watched at least one of their videos. So we see the same thing happening, of course, with these big streamers that I've been watching. They mix together the games they play with the personalities they bring to the table. They all have their little quirks because they're, you know, different people and whatnot. I don't expect Asmongold to do things the same way as S-Fan, and I don't expect S-Fan to do the same things as Greek. I don't expect Greek to do the same things as Mizkif. I don't expect any of these guys to do the same thing as each other because, well, they're people. They're all going to put their own taste, or their own spin on it, so to speak. I was going to say flavor. I don't know how many people have referred to flavor as a style before without taking it the wrong way in chat or something, but you know, I might be old with some outdated terminology here at this point. But the same exact thing happened on YouTube. And so the question we have to ask is, as Twitch develops and becomes a more mainstream platform, are they going to be able to avoid the issues... This is a loud one. Are they going to be able to avoid the issues that led to YouTube changing into what it is today, and the changing attitudes and opinions on even the vloggers that are still over there? I mean, even vlogging has changed. What we're doing right now, is what constituted vlogging. A webcam, someone with something to say, and they just talked. And not much in terms of editing or anything of that sort, just here's what I have to say, video blogging. And blogging, of course, was a shortening of weblog, kind of like an online journal or something. So it started as text only with the journal sites and whatnot, and then video got involved when YouTube became a thing and stuff along those lines. But even today, you watch a vlogger and they're walking around with their phone or something, and it's kind of like reality TV. A bit more edited, a bit more produced. It's not just turn on the camera and talk like this. So this sort of thing you don't really see on there as much as if at all. There's a couple of folks out there who still do this sort of format, and I actually did a little retro format myself, just as a quick nod to it all. But by and large, this whole thing with vlogging has changed as well. And so the question is, with what has made so many YouTubers like myself give Twitch a try in the last couple of years, are we just coming over here to see the same thing happen with Twitch in a couple of years? So are we going to see, for example, and if that is what happens, then somebody's got to sound the alarm to these big personalities and not take it too hard when they go from 5,000 viewers without breaking a sweat to they can barely get 2,000 when they stream. Because what happened ultimately with YouTube was, it all began with a channel that people were making fun of. CBS. Yes, that CBS. So all of a sudden, with all these individuals starting channels on YouTube, suddenly there's a channel for CBS that shows up in the late 2000s. And that has like clips of shows and stuff like that, and a few things here and there, and we're like, what on earth is CBS doing on YouTube? They're mainstream. They don't need to use this alternative media stuff. Why on earth is CBS starting a YouTube channel? Well, foreshadowing, because commercial entities eventually showed up in the following years. And eventually what happened was YouTube went from strong independent individuals as kind of the faces of what everything is to there's some of them left, but there's a lot of commercial stuff. This would benefit, of course, YouTube as a business because they could avoid some of the more conflict of interest looking situations like what Twitch has to deal with, where you have a big streamer, brings in a lot of traffic. So what do you do if they're bending the rules without breaking them? So what exactly are you going to do? So, and one of the solutions to that is to bring in more commercial stuff. Have Twitch go more mainstream. You know, have it be a platform where you can tune in and see more like news and shows and things like that. Maybe even have it as an alternative to cable at some point later on. I mean, you have that with subs. Yeah, imagine if, for example, HBO and the rest of them started some kind of sub-only thing. And I think what we'd need for that is Twitch would need to have something where you could set what the sub fee was instead of, you know, the $5 thing. So if they rolled out a feature like that, I'd interpret it as a move towards trying to turn Twitch into something resembling an a la carte cable service. If anybody can pull that off. I mean, I've seen content providers constantly kick against the bricks at the idea of pay for what you want cable. So it's I don't think that idea will be popular anytime soon, but hey, who knows? You could always be a dreamer like me and dream about how technology can make our world better. But it's really the sort of thing where you gotta think about what's going to happen in a couple of years, because we've already seen this before. I've seen this before, and I just hope that the big names on here don't take it too hard when Twitch gets to a position where they don't have to feel like they're stuck because of some individuals who may be a little rowdy and mess with TOS from time to time. But oh wait, they bring a lot of traffic to the site, so can we do anything about it, or something along those lines? So, but that's really the thing here. Where's the show flow? Where is the emphasis on showmanship? Where is, for example, you say, you know, streaming that doesn't just go on and on and on later and later and later. So you start out, you can watch most of it before you want to get to sleep and stuff like that, but now you're staying up later and later because they're drifting away from their schedule and everything like that. And then, of course, there's the whole thing with something I just forgot about. So, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that shortly, but that's really the thing. I've seen this before on early YouTube, and it's definitely a thing here too, though. So, actually, besides all the stalling thing and things like that, you know, when we talk about show flow, and this is probably what I was thinking of earlier, show flow is about respecting your audience's time. Showing up, having a plan, knowing what you're doing, and keeping it to where you don't have to lose hours and hours and hours every single day because somebody, oh, this won't work. Oh, wait, we're trying to do this now? Oh, this won't work. Okay, why didn't you try it offline? Or, you know, have some kind of alt channel or some kind of behind-the-scenes stream or something like that. I mean, just say, you know, we're going to experiment with new stuff here. Get it working for the next time things go mainstream or your main show. Why not do something like that? It could technically count as behind IRL or something along those lines. But you just don't see that. You don't see that from these big guys. And the question is, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when the environment changes? And you get to the point where people start realizing, or as some people have suggested, the streaming ecosystem inverts, and we have more people wanting to stream than actually watch streams. So I can tell you that if someone like myself who wants to get into this, but I also want to watch a few other folks as well, that's one of the big things that really kills my ability to be consistent here, is, oh, what's going on this, and what's going on over there, you know, what's going on with that. But there's something to think about here with everything that's been going on. I mean, there's a lot going on right now with the big streamers that I've been watching, and I want to get into more game playing and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm staying up way too late. It's one of the reasons why I'm not firing up any games tonight, because it's 3:44 on the East Coast in the morning, and I don't want to be up until sunrise. I'm actually going to use some sleep aid stuff and go to sleep early, so I want to get up earlier and enjoy some of the more daylight, the warm weather, and things along those lines, get some more stuff done around the house. It's gotten to the point, though, where some of these streamers are going so late. They started out as afternoon, evening streamers, and now they're turning into way into the night, sometimes into the following morning, that you're just like, okay, you know, you like watching what it is that they do, but you have to pretty much tear yourself away from the stream in order to then worry about whether or not you missed anything. So that's really something that, man, you gotta tear yourself away from the stream just to get a decent amount of sleep. What's gonna happen when more people start figuring out that this is what's going on, and they start doing that, and they're like, okay, if you're gonna take 8 hours to do what could be done in 4 hours on a stream because nothing that you're trying to do is working, and you're constantly having to be like, pause champ, or something like that. At what point are people gonna start realizing more and more about this sort of thing? And then there's the whole issue of stream versus uploads. And that's really where YouTube still holds the ace when it comes to the cards that have been dealt with this current situation. Recently there was an issue with Alinity, and a lot of folks talked about it, and a lot of people said a lot of things in a lot of different directions. But the one thing I did not hear about, though, is when her channel came back, years of VODs were gone. You go and look at her recent broadcasts, quote unquote. You see back to the time the channel was reinstated, and then the next one after that was 3 years ago. The clips survived and things like that. But imagine the uproar that would take place on YouTube if that's the way that YouTube ran things. Oh, you did something wrong. You're gonna time out your channel for X amount of time. No, put a strike on your account, and then you come back and years of content have been wiped out. I don't even know why that's even still a thing on Twitch. Twitch is powered by VODs. The clips are based on VODs, and there's different expiration dates and things like that. But if something's not in indefinite suspension, why on earth do we have a situation where people risk losing decent chunks of video content? There was a time when I was thinking that maybe Amazon and Google would go after each other a little more with the competition here. And YouTube and Twitch were good at different things, but this is really a deficiency on Twitch's part when it comes to upload support, which is the missing link here, because live stream content inherently has its limitations. And I'm not just talking about not being able to edit stuff into stuff that's more consumable, so to speak, in terms of respecting people's time. Like if I'm doing a playthrough of a video game, there's going to be boring parts. On the upload sites, I can edit that out and make it a lot shorter, and therefore people... And if YouTube... I've heard that YouTube actually rolled out a chapters feature. If YouTube has something like that for the long-form content, like when people put streams over there and stuff, that's another shot across the bow of Twitch. Because, yeah, there's stream markers and stuff like that, but you can watch and upload whenever you want. And this is particularly interesting to folks like myself who do infotainment, that we're hamming things up for entertainment value and stuff, but we're also trying to be informative for people that want to learn stuff. So if you want to learn, for example, my latest build in ESO, I can maybe stream it and then cut things down afterwards and make a YouTube video out of it and have the condensed version be something that's worth watching. Or better yet, just design it from the beginning to be an upload instead of a live stream, and then have the YouTube algorithms passing around for years and years. It's just interesting. But I can just say that if YouTube operated like Twitch and a disciplinary move on your account wiped out years of content or months of content or whatever, or any amount of content that you did recently, I think that people would abandon that platform in droves. And that's part of what I'm going to be doing here behind the scenes when I'm not streaming, is I'm actually going to take some of the stuff that I've been doing with Trials of Mana, which I've been clipping into highlights, and sending them over to YouTube as kind of a Let's Play type thing. Because I have no way to know that someone... See, here's the problem. Whenever these platforms come up with a system, you're always going to have people out there trying to find a way to abuse it. Over on YouTube, I've been hearing about false flagging for the entire time I've been involved on the platform. All the way back to 2006. Matter of fact, right after I joined YouTube, and, well, I didn't make videos for months. I was using my account in the beginning just to watch what other people were doing. But while all that was going on, before I even uploaded a single video, there was an issue involving a streamer with a disability, or a video vlogger with a disability, who was trying to do vlogs in her wheelchair, and the medication she was on made her stutter all over the place. Needless to say, mean-spirited people in the comments started a flagging campaign and eventually got her account taken down. Then there was a counter campaign that got it reinstated because people were abusing the system. But Now let's apply that to Twitch. So Twitch has this thing where if your account receives disciplinary action, it wipes out some recent content going back, and as we know from this recent situation that I've been watching, years. So imagine how on earth could anybody take Twitch seriously as a place to design content instead of just stream all the time when there's the risk of that going on? And what if say there was too much of a dependence on automated systems as opposed to human reviewers? Or even with human reviewers, the training matters too. Do you have someone poorly trained that makes a mistake here and there, and maybe someone receives disciplinary action that they shouldn't? I mean, human error is still a thing. But imagine if, for example, there were some mean-spirited people on Twitch that got someone's channel disciplined. They sent lots of complaints, and someone receives a 24-hour suspension, and all kinds of content gets wiped away, essentially because of other people abusing a reporting system. So who wants to take that risk? So that's been part of kicking the tires on Twitch versus YouTube for me, as far as I'm concerned, is seeing what the strengths and weaknesses of the two platforms are. And that is, this whole thing with disappearing content, if you get disciplined for something, is definitely a weakness of Twitch. So I just can't take as much as it's fun to make highlights and stuff, I can't take that feature seriously if there's any risk that content could be wiped out if, say, oh, I screw something up, the account is suspended for 24 hours. Bam! Years of content gone. That's not the way things are over on YouTube. And the same thing too, you know, if you go to a Twitch streamer how-to about how to get into this stuff, one of the things they'll tell you is start a YouTube channel. Because of the fundamental differences between the platforms, YouTube's algorithms will pass stuff around after X amount of time. So you can go over there, start a channel, start making content, and you'll just... Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about earlier. Let's get to it shortly. But yeah, start a channel, get content passed around, people know who you are, then they tune into the streams afterwards. Or they check VODs, or they check something else, because they know you're not just sitting there, just playing the video game for 8 hours and not really doing much else other than that. So... And I forgot again. Oh yeah, I should write this stuff down before going on the air, man. Or going on the whatever you want to call it. So, at its core, the whole Twitch thing is really kind of like going over a friend's house and either listening to them talk, watching them play video games, watching them do something else. You don't go over there because of the content, or you don't go over there because of the game they're playing unless you like the game. But if you know someone's good at throwing a party, you go over there and you have some fun. So, I really should have wrote that thing down, but it's probably going to require another discussion later on. But, this whole thing, man. So, that's where we're going to call it with this. I'll have a discussion about that other stuff later on. But it's just, a lot of this does remind me of early YouTube in respects of, I'm seeing stuff today that I've seen before. And it makes me wonder what's going to happen when the Twitch version of this stuff happens over here. Because, quite frankly, there's definitely some things that need to improve on this platform. Of course, other platforms too. YouTube has things to improve, Mixer has things to improve. Lots of folks have things to improve. Now, as I go reacquaint myself with taking some notes about what it is that you want to talk about, what that's about, I'm just going to sign it off right here, right now. This is the inverse of a discussion that I had over on YouTube about, this whole experience of kicking the tires on all of this. And quite frankly, 4 o'clock is approaching. So I want to get to sleep earlier. That means before sunrise. So even for a night shift guy like me, there's limits. So thanks for watching, those of you that tuned in. Saw a few folks come and go and whatnot, but other than that, I think I probably shouldn't have said I'm about to finish the stream, but come on, it's just the way to be honest with your audience here. If I remember that thing, we'll have some other discussion later on, or we'll include it in a recap or something. I will say that I'm reading an article about what's called parasocial relationships, and it's an article that I linked on my Twitter earlier, MultimediaJay over on Twitter, It's an article that I linked over on Twitter earlier where I talked about the article itself talked about how people have these connections to online personalities, not unlike people that think they knew an actor, think they know some kind of celebrity or something like that. Just something that we do as people. But it's an interesting, albeit clickbait title, YouTubers Are Not Your Friend. I'm going to read that over a bit, go over some of its points, and probably include that in a recap or something. And if I think of what I want to talk about, which with my usual non-luck will probably happen when I'm working with the VOD for this thing, when I remember what I was going to talk about, we'll probably just put it in a recap or something like that, and I'll be sure to write it down first. It's just, the thing is, oh yeah, hey, lucky, the folks that left early get to miss this. Oh well. So, here's why I'm talking about show flow in the first place. Last go-round, I got raided by a Call of Duty streamer who runs about, say, 30 people on his stream at any given time, guy in the UK. And I was like, you know what, let's take a look at this. So I go over to his stream, and I look at, what happened at the very end before he raided my channel. And he's like, oh, you want to raid a boomer? I'll find you a boomer. You won't raid a boomer? I'll find a boomer. And besides being taken aback by, no, I'm not a baby boomer, not even close. Older millennial, actually. But, it's, oh yeah, you want a boomer? I'm gonna find a boomer. Well, I checked the channel he was gonna raid first, and then saw, yeah, that is somebody in their 60s, 70s, or whatever it was. They're just trying out Twitch just for the heck of it, live streaming their retired life or something like that. But I don't know how this Call of Duty guy's audience wound up over on my stream raiding when he was looking to raid a boomer. However, I noticed when they came over to my channel that they were thinking I was recording YouTube videos while streaming, just because I had a little bit of organization and I wasn't just, super disorganized about things. Very interesting. Is that really what it has become on here? Is it really that commonplace for folks to show up and not have any show flow or showmanship to what they're doing? It's like, okay, camera in the corner, let's fire up Call of Duty again, or fire up Fortnite again. Is it really become that normal over on Twitch to not have any real organization to what you're doing as a streamer? That when somebody does show up, people in the chat start thinking, oh, are you making YouTube videos while you stream? Some people do that, actually. But I'll tell you right now, though, my interest in sounding like a guy in the radio is not just because of what I sound like. It's just a matter of respecting people's time. Myself and anybody who's coming over to Twitch from YouTube, at least I hope they figured this out by the time they change platforms. But I am all about I don't want to have content that is long stretches of blah, even though that tends to happen on here because of the nature of being live. I want to have a plan, I want to know what it is that I'm doing, I want everything to be planned out, and I want it to be something that people want to watch. And if it's a 3-hour stream, a 4-hour stream, a 5-hour stream, I want it to feel like all those hours were worth it. And that the VOD isn't going to require tons of back and forth with the arrow keys and stuff. That's something I just don't seem to run into. Of course, yeah, Twitch has its issues if you try and use it like YouTube, like we discussed earlier. However, I'm just surprised, these folks, they come raiding me, and they see me giving this monologue in a recap, something similar to this, and they ask, are you making YouTube videos while you stream? Has it become that common for things to be on the disorganized side? That when you start looking, well, number one, I do have prior radio experience on college radio, so the need to be able to talk to your audience like this is something I'm already familiar with. I'm not learning it as I go, I'm kind of just getting back into it. But the thing is, is it that disorganized? I mean, I started out this discussion talking about some of the big streamers. It seems like they're getting more and more disorganized. They're streaming wherever, their schedules are drifting in all different directions. A guy I used to watch afternoon, evening is now, he turns into an all-night streamer nearly all the time. But I realize, it is kind of like being over a friend's house, and they have cool personality, and they're good at throwing a party, and you feel like the community's awesome and everything. But what happens when the showmanship starts to veer a little too far off? and you end up with these 9-10 hour streams, and you have a hard time staying focused because it does get boring for long stretches as things don't work or that doesn't work because they didn't do like an IRL stream of experimenting with the new stuff. They were just winging it the whole time. So got me thinking a lot when I was raided last go round. Oh, well, right, a boomer. I don't know, I guess it didn't really work for what's-his-face and his buddies to come over to my channel, but, because I'm older millennial, actually. Very pro-technology. And even the whole thing that the Gen Zs say about that boomer is a mentality and not an age group, I don't fit into that either. I don't expect young people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. You know, I acknowledge that, quite frankly, the baby boomers are in the middle between the World War IIs and the silent generation before them, having to deal with the Great Depression, and Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, everybody after them having to deal with the Great Recession, and now whatever's coming because of this whole pandemic and whatnot, and the effect that it's having on the economy. So this whole thing where you're born into a post-war boom, and then in your 20s there's easy to afford college, easy to afford college, easy to buy a house, all kinds of stuff, and you're wondering why the younger people can't do the same stuff you did in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I understand all of that. Actually, my dad, who is a boomer, and I have these back and forth kind of discussions too about the differences between where I'm at this point in my life versus where he was at the same point in his life. So we have these discussions. So when some of these Gen Zs are like, oh, well, raid a boomer, and then they come over to my channel, sorry that your efforts to raid a boomer on Twitch fell flat on their face because you missed by a mile. But it was quite an eye-opener. I'm over here giving this monologue, something similar to this. These folks show up in the chat suddenly. It's like, what, are you making YouTube videos? Is that what it's turned into? The edited discipline, stuff like that, is now associated with YouTube as opposed to just, hey, I'm live, let's play something. Now, there's nothing wrong with relaxed, chill streams and things like that, and there's definitely nothing wrong with streams that are like going over a friend's house and having a good time and whatnot. Matter of fact, there's some just chatting people on here who it is like going over a friend's house when you tune into their streams. They never really have anything all that structured going on. They're like, hey, how you been? Hi, chat, how you doing? And you know what? In this day and age of social distancing and all this other stuff to keep this darn coronavirus at bay, maybe this sort of thing is something people should be more comfortable with. You know? I'm having a hard time as it is getting something besides these blah blah USB mics. Speaking of which, we still don't have a shock mount, so let's make the sound again. Well, that sounds more metallic. Something must have moved. It sounded like this thing had a built-in... Oh, it's rattling a bit too. Nope, that's not... Yeah, that sounds different. Something must be, yeah. Previous streams have me... It sounds like, duh, you got the question wrong. So, I know that there's folks getting into teleconferencing and other remote communication type stuff like this, and it's putting a strain, besides that, and having to do things slower to try and protect workers' health and stuff like that, and the supply chains and stuff. Things are taking longer to arrive when you buy stuff online, and some stuff's getting harder to find than it normally is. But it's just so. But anyways, that's really the thing. That's what I kept forgetting earlier. Woo! Yeah, I really should learn to write things down before I come do these kinds of things. So yes. Twitch does remind me of early YouTube. There's just so much going on with these big names on here, these household name streamers, where, if you're involved in Twitch any respectable length of time, you start knowing who some of these people are. Seen it before in YouTube. Seen it before, not only from a general perspective with the vloggers, but from a community perspective with the gaming channels that I used to comment on and, watch and respond to and whatnot back in the heydays of all of that on YouTube. So, the question I have is, if Twitch goes down the path of YouTube in terms of becoming a more mainstream platform and less of a niche product, I just hope that these people aren't, these big streamers getting 5,000 people aren't as bummed out about it as some of the YouTubers were when they saw things start to change. Because quite frankly, there's always going to be a place for if you want to watch someone you find or listen to someone you find entertaining. The community aspect of it is always something that there's going to be somebody out there that's interested in what it is that you're doing. Yeah, sure, nowadays, every single YouTube video, at least the big ones, have this SOP to them, like, hey, welcome, blah, blah, blah. Or, here's an example. You start the video up, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm going to be talking about this thing, even though I just put it in the title and you clicked on the video. So I'm wasting your time already just by saying over again what the video is going to be about. Smash that like button. Oh, wait, let's go into an in-video ad for something that isn't going to be relevant in a year or two, even though the YouTube algorithms pass things around forever. So today's sponsor is blah blah. Then you actually get to the content and they just ramble. They don't follow the video editing doohickey of Otis McDonald. This one has vocals. We're gonna skip this one on the on Winamp here. But you get into the YouTube video and you have an arrow around to find what it was that you wanted. That's too slow. East Jammy Jams. There we go. Some nice jazz to finish up the discussion. You get into the video and you start seeing these people, or you start seeing what it is you want to see, and you're arrowing around trying to find the bit of information you're looking for. You're just trying to watch and whatnot. And then at the end, hey, don't forget to thumbs up the video, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, blah blah blah. Now, with what I do, I keep it pretty low-key. I may roll credits because I'm influenced by the television I used to watch when I was growing up, but I do like the end screen feature, though. Give people a lot of stuff to click on to see more of your content at the end of the video. So I like that, but I don't do the thing where, okay, we're in the last 45 seconds of the video, you can click away now because it's just going to be me saying, don't forget to like it if you liked it, or other stuff like that someone could probably figure out just by looking at YouTube as they play it on their phone or their computer or something. But there's always, like I said earlier, getting back to that, there's always going to be a place for the community and the people side of these platforms. You know, the reason why I watch the streamers that I watch is because of basically who they are, either as people or as the persona that they choose to portray on camera. So platforms may change, priorities may change, companies may change, but what stays the same is that which built YouTube in the first place. The idea of building a community and the idea of just being likable and getting people to like you and come see what it is that you have to say. So, if you are interested in any of the music that you've been hearing in this broadcasty thing, over on YouTube, these are all available on the YouTube Audio Library. At least I hope they are. I've seen some tracks here and there get removed. I don't know what the deal is with that. But YouTube Audio Library, that's the source of the music. Some of these tracks actually they don't sound like canned background music, that's for sure. There's some of these that I would listen to on a phone or something like that. So, YouTube Audio Library, social media. I am involved. I have a combined feed on Twitter, MultimediaJay on Twitter, YouTube channel with edited content and the back catalog of tech videos and computer tinkering. It is MultimediaJay on YouTube, and quite frankly, I want to get back into some of that stuff. It's the streaming thing has been fun and whatnot, but during the day, if I get up earlier, I want to work on videos during the day and then live stream at night, or something along those lines, for the duration of the last remaining weeks of the furlough from the 9-to-5 job that I'm involved with in the local area. So, yes, social media, there's plenty of it. I am involved on it. Just look for the guy with the sunglasses indoors. And I don't mean Dr. Disrespect. Although, I've always preferred the blue type thing. I got some purple going there to mix things up a bit. Plus, I'm trying to raise plants indoors. So, trying to grow a fern in a little flower pot that I have now. So, anyways, I've always been Mr. Blue Team. So, I guess Doc's thing is red. So, things like that. But, yes. Just not wearing the blue shirt, though. I did the laundry today. So, by the way, if you saw me wear something like this earlier, I have 2 of these shirts. So, hope nobody's like, hey, you wore that shirt a few days ago. Whatever. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Those of you watching this after the fact, both the VOD and over on YouTube, thanks for watching. Until next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.